Yes, excuse the shadows. This is my first top-down whatever video thing. So I'm gonna try to take this keyboard apart and clean it up, and then maybe Retro-Brite the keys and maybe the case. I have no idea. Let's take this apart first, shall we? This is upside down from my perspective, by the way, so it's not upside down for you. So I will do my best to keep this in frame. Well, I shall disassemble said keyboard. There looks like there's 6 screws here. This thing does need a good cleaning. I managed to clean it as much as I could without taking it apart. But that would be a half-arsed way to do it, I guess. Oops, I'm way too close to the camera. Sorry about that. I almost hit it with my head. Oh my goodness. Come on. It's somewhat out. Now my hand is in the way. Yes. Directly below the camera. This is not going well. This is a magnetic screwdriver as well, so this should have been super easy. Yes, easy indeed. There we go. And I'll come back to this one here. Ah, there we go, finally. Okay, they're kind of over there. So this should just come off as expected. There we go. A bit of dirt in here. Maybe like that. Yeah, whatever. I can take care of that later off camera. It's not that important right now. Oh goodness, that was the... that's funny. This looks pretty much like the Amiga 500 keyboard controller right here. And I can guarantee you that's pretty much what this is, just with a PS2 type connection on it. Yes. But it might be PS2 type, but not PS2 compatible. So don't try to plug this into your PC without it blowing up or something. So this should pull right out. Oh, it does. Look at that. Yes, and it looks like I was correct. That is an Amiga 500 keyboard controller chip. And look like the membrane is the same as well. So if something ever goes wrong with this, I imagine, now I could be wrong, you can correct me in the comments, you should be able to use the innards of an Amiga 500 keyboard to fix this. Yes. Anyway, I will put this aside and put this so you guys can see it. There we go. So yeah, the plastics I will clean in the sink. And then this, as always, you have to take off the myriad of screws if you want to clean the membrane. But what I'm going to do first is remove the keys and really see how dirty everything is in here. I might be over-emoting everything with my hands because I don't know. Yeah. So there is definitely some dirt here. But let me get these keys off with my key puller, and I will be right back. If I can find the, there it is, the button of non-record. As always, I have returned, and this is slightly askew. My life is slightly askew. Anyway, here is the puller and various brushes. And let me, see, actually now I can sit down since this is above me, so this is actually kind of nice. Yes, let me try one of these. So I guess it goes on best if you kind of angle them like that and then just pull straight up. And the spring comes out, of course. Yes, a bit of dirt. So I'm going to duplicate what you just saw with all of these keys, and I will return to you at that time. Excuse me for the shakiness because the camera's way up here. One moment, please. Yes, actually, sorry about that. I forgot at the beginning of the video to say the notorious welcome to another episode of Amiga Retro. There, that out of the way. Let's continue. As you can see, much dirt and dust bunnies of the ancients in here. All the linkages for, you know, the return key, spacebar, tab, all of that, like the larger keys are here. The only thing to notice, if I can tilt this here, maybe you can see it there. I kept these springs separate because these are for the spacebar. It has two smaller springs and one larger spring. I believe the larger spring is what all the other ones are, but it's got the two smaller ones that go on the edges, and then the larger one in the middle, because there's 3 springs. Yes, wasn't that educational? Okay, so obviously this needs to be cleaned, but what I'm going to do is I'm going to literally, take the debris here. Look at all that fun stuff. Yes, there we go. This camera's kind of wobbly. Sorry about that. I'm going to take these screws off here and the controller board, and gently clean the membrane and vigorously clean this plastic overlay key support bracket thing. Yes, very technical this channel is today. So I won't bore you, I should say, with all these screws that I will remove, but I'll clean this up the best I can, which shouldn't be too hard, I guess, and I will be right back. Oh no, must turn off camera. So, about a half an hour later, I have pretty much got it down to as far as it goes. Membrane removed. This is the plastic holder for all of these plungers, which are your keys, which of course appear on the other side of the board. And of course you have the controller. So I'm going to wash this up in the sink, just wipe this one down, and then gently clean these with a Q-tip. Not to rub too hard on that or here, because it is carbon, and you don't want to wear the carbon off. And of course, if too much of it comes off, yeah, the key won't work. So I'll gently clean these, just soap and water maybe some light alcohol on these, isopropyl, like I said, not rubbing too much, and that should be it. This is going to take me at least an hour to put this back together again, at least to the point where I can put the keys back on, which I'll probably try to Retro-Brite them first, but we'll get to that when we get there. So I will be back once this is pretty much reassembled. Yes, I am really looking forward to that. My favorite part of restoration process. Sarcasm. Yes. Well, vibrations. Sorry about that. As you can see, it's together. Very clean. Like I said, I cleaned the plastic with soap and water, and then the membrane very gently with isopropyl alcohol. All the screws are back in again. I'm not sure the amount of screws, probably 30 plus. That one there is going to be for the ground on the cable, which of course is for the keyboard itself. So that will go on there. But that'll be the last thing I'm going to do. So the next thing I'm going to try is to Retrobrite these keys using the heat method, but slightly different than before. Gotta be careful with the space bar, because I've seen in other videos where too much heat, this will actually warp because it's a longer piece of plastic. And I have experience with that. Yes, from last time. So I'm going to keep a few that aren't going to get treated, and we'll see how that turns out. I won't bore you with the details. I might do kind of like a slideshow thing like I did last time with some stills of the process to try to Retrobrite these. The case itself, which is lurking over there, I'm not too eager to do that just because it's larger plastic, but we'll see what happens. Yeah, indeed. Anyway, I will try the Retrobrite process on these, and this is slightly not exactly in frame. Whatever, good enough. And but as you can see, nice and clean. That part's done. Hopefully everything still works. I'm sure it will, and I'll be right back as I attempt to not move the camera too much while I shut this off. Okay, as before, the process is the same. Soap and water, clean every single key painstakingly until you are beyond bored with the process. But you must sally forth and finish the job. So as you can see, soap on the left and then rinse on the right. And do the same thing to the case. Now, I did wash this, but I don't plan on Retrobrighting this because I don't want to have any issues, but it needed to be cleaned. So basically, I was not comfortable enough to Retrobrite this for various reasons, and I'll mention that at the end of the video. But anyways, it needed a bath, so bath it got. And here is the process. Hydrogen peroxide is 12%. You can use the higher 30%, 40%. Definitely wear gloves with that stuff, even with this because once again, not wearing gloves, any cuts and bruises I had, it definitely tried to attack those, but I survived with all digits attached. But anyways, regardless of that, as you can see, very yellow keys there, and I used a bottle and 3/4 of this stuff in this Tupperware-like container. Next, here we go. And this is what I used here. This is it's basically a food, not really a preheater, like a keeper warmer thing. So if you make food and you don't want it to get cold, you throw it onto this thing. I think it's the temperature range is like, and I'm just taking this off the top of my head. I don't see the specs on this, but it's about 100 degrees to just over boiling, actually. So I preheat the liquid, and, oops, sorry about that. And then I wanted to see what the temperature actually was, because there's a temperature adjuster. You can barely see it down here underneath this tape, but it doesn't tell you what the actual temperature is. So I measured it with the temperature probe with my multimeter, and it's roughly 155 degrees Fahrenheit. And there's the keys put into the solution, of course, allowing enough room for displacement so it doesn't go over the top. So I still had about a ½ an inch to the top of that container, which turned out to be a pain in the ass, as you will find out shortly. There it is with the cover on top to keep the moisture in, or prevent it from evaporating too much, and mainly it's to keep the heat in so it gets up to temperature quicker. And there we have the keys again in a new container, because the problem I mentioned previously, and it wasn't because of the heat, this doesn't get hot enough to melt the plastic. This stuff can actually survive microwave, so this doesn't get anywhere near it, because I think around 60 degrees, it just apparently developed a small crack that was there before that I did not notice until it got heated, so it ended up leaking all over the hot plate, which now I have replaced with this, which it survived just fine. Yes, always something with this Retro-Brite process. Hopefully I'll have better luck. Right there is the, on the bottom right, is the temperature adjustment. So out of curiosity, I wanted to see what the temperature of the liquid was, and it hit about 135, 140 degrees, or 136 in this image, which was just fine. You can go up a bit higher. I just didn't want to warp that space bar, though I don't think that would happen, but I don't want to take the chance. So after about, I'd say, I think it took about 6 hours, maybe actually about five, let's say 5 hours. This was what the keys looked like before. This R here, that was just, I need another R to spell Amiga Retro, so I took it from another keyboard. But you can see how white that one was. I believe that was a 1200 keyboard, but you can kind of generally see how yellow this really is. And this is what they look like after. Big difference. Of course, the R here makes this T look pretty, whatever by comparison, but it's not bad. It's an improvement. I wasn't expecting it to go super, super white, and I didn't really want it to anyways, but it's definitely better than it was before. And now, the final product. Like I said, I didn't end up doing anything with the case, because I was afraid of the stencil here. I'm not sure, silk screening, whatever, being damaged, and of course there's a sticker on the back, which would have to be removed, which I didn't want to try to do. I wanted to keep everything as original as possible. But you can see it looks really good. It looks nice. Unfortunately, I forgot to take a full picture of it before, when it was assembled, but you should see that in the video itself. So maybe I can grab a still from that for later. And that is that. Now back on to the non-slideshow portion, I should say, of the video. Okay, so I gave this another treatment with the hydrogen peroxide temperature heat method. I keep mentioning 1,000 times. It kind of softened the blemishes, so it actually doesn't look too bad. But the main reason while I'm here is to undo the mistake from the last video. I'm going to put this badge I purchased on eBay right there. So I will secure that, and as you can see, it looks as good as new. And then I will install it on the case, and at that time, I will join you. I will be right back. Yes, it helps when I hit record. Let me try that again. So this pretty much wraps up the video, this series of the Amiga 1200. Yes. How about the Amiga 4000? Sorry about that. The Amiga 4000 faceplate and the keyboard, the keys. I decided not to do the Retrobrighting on this case for the keyboard, just in case it might have affected the silkscreen etching or whatever this is on the plastic, and let alone, of course, on the sticker here. I'd have to remove it, and I did not want to tempt that either. And I'm just going to leave it well enough alone because it looks fine the way it is. Get my arm out of the way for you. As you can see, it actually looks pretty nice. And like I said, that pretty much wraps up this series. I might go over some of the hardware that I've actually mounted in this that was mentioned previously in the video in perhaps more detail when I eventually return from my next trip to the US. So that's it, and I hope you liked the video. I hope you take away some of the tips using the liquid hydrogen peroxide versus a cream, and the heat method versus sunshine or whatever, but the heat method, which was more gentle, that I used compared to the oven or maybe even stovetop, because I've seen that before on some YouTube videos. But enough ranting, enough going on. I shall now end this video. And if you like it, of course, like, share, subscribe, and as always, thanks for watching. I will see you in the next one. Take care.